Hi, Lee Phillips here. I'm an attorney. Don't hold that against me. And I want to talk to you a minute about the considerations that you need to take into account when you name a trustee. That's the guy who's going to take over after you, mom, dad, die, who's going to manage the trust. And for most people, if you're trying to avoid probate with a trust, the trust is going to be the totality of your estate. And then the trust is going to be distributed by the successor trustee down to the beneficiaries. So who do you name as the successor trustee? Mom and dad alive, they're going to be joint trustees. That's fine. Mom dies, dad's going to be the remaining trustee. He usually controls the whole thing. But when dad dies, we've got to have somebody else. We've got to have a successor trustee. And usually you name one of the kids. Now in the old days, you always named the bank. And the lawyer may want you to name the bank. The lawyer and the bank, they get together and they refer clients back and forth to each other. In the old days, the banks used to be First Cheatham and Howe Bank and Trust Company. And in the 80s, they decided, trust, that's for rich people. We don't want to be tagged as being only for rich people, so we're going to drop the trust. And now it's just First Cheatham and Howe. So they don't have and trust. But the banks still are trust companies. They will act as the successor trustee. Now, that's not a good idea in my opinion, and I've done it several times when I've written trusts for people. There are appropriate circumstances, but usually if the family's going to get along, everybody's going to be happy, we're going to name a kid. I mean, the kid's not a kid. He's a 50, 60-year-old man when dad dies, or his 50, 60-year-old daughter. What are the considerations in which kid you pick? You always pick the oldest one. Well, no, not necessarily. We're going to pick the kid who has decent business sense. I mean, if the guy is a spendthrift, you don't want your son being the trustee if he can't keep a dime for 15 minutes. We're going to pick a kid who's local. They're going to have to interact with the locals. They're going to have to shut down the bank accounts. They're going to have to rehab the property, get it ready, fixed up, cleaned out, ready to go, sell it. So being local is important in that they interact. Now, could somebody do it from a distance? Yeah, they can do that. And it isn't unusual to have John, who's the brilliant businessman, and Joe, who is the local, great guy, not very good at business, but Joe can help be the legs on the ground locally and be directed by the trustee. So that kind of works too. So good business guy, local. Are they fair? Are they going to get along with the other kids? That's a consideration too. Because this guy is going to have to wrap up mom and dad's affairs. They're going to have to distribute the estate, divide it out. Mom and dad want it equally to all the kids. So they're going to have to be able to get along with the kids to some degree. They're going to have to be transparent. They have a fiduciary duty to the beneficiaries. And so they need to be able to explain things to the other kids. So, good business guy, local, fair. What else do we need in a trustee? Not a lot, in a sense. Although the better the trustee is at managing things, the better off you're going to be having them be the successor trustee. They're going to manage all of the property, and in some cases, mom and dad have a lot of real estate. Why sell real estate? The trustee can manage it for decades. It makes a good cash flow. He can divide up the profits, the cash flow, with the other kids. The kid gets income every year. Maybe we don't want to liquidate the estate and get rid of it. These are the decisions that the trustee will have to make. And if you sit down with the successor trustee and kind of explain maybe what you want to do, as long as it's within what the trustee is supposed to be doing, they can follow your directions and kind of know what mom, dad wanted to happen with their estate. So the successor trustee is an important choice. Can you have more than one trustee? Could we have all of the kids be trustees? Well, yeah, but you don't get a lot done with a committee. So maybe John, who's out of town, and Joe could be joint trustees. Or Mary, who's absolutely fair and will take care of everything, she can, and compassionate with the kids, she can be a co-trustee with John, who's the great businessman. And so, you can mix it up that way and have, I wouldn't put more than 2 as joint trustees. Yeah, I've written trusts where maybe 3 were, but I kind of argue against that just because it's hard to get anything done with a committee. So pick your trustees. Usually you pick somebody in the family. Blood's pretty thick. Yeah, I've seen a lot of best friends and stuff, but best friends tend to go away. The blood hangs around for a long time. This is Lee Phillips talking about choosing your successor trustee.